Hi, Stampers! It's Nancy from StampandShout.com. Welcome to my Tuesday YouTube Live. I'm here every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, so if you're not a subscriber, click subscribe, click the notification bell, and then you'll be reminded when I'm doing a live video. And so tonight, I'm going to make some die cards with Stampin' Up's Wildlife Wonder stamp set. And what else am I going to use? I'm using the Timber 3D embossing folder, and I'm using the layering circles. Then I have some cardstock and some glue and lots of tips. So these are the cards. I just love all the cards tonight. I'm really excited. Sometimes it's hard to, I think not sometimes, it's hard to make a guide card because you don't want it to be too fussy and you don't want a lot of ribbons and bows on it. But this is a little twine bow on the owl card. I think it works out really well. And then here's the wolf to a great guy. Great sentiments in this stamp set. And then this is a little bit of a fancy fold, so it worked out really well with this big bear. And then we have the inside. So I like the way that opens up. It's really cool looking. So all of them are embossed with that Timber embossing folder. And we're going to get started. So if you're watching me live, say hi, tell me where you're from, ask your questions. And if you're watching me on replay, go ahead and type in replay. And of course, ask your questions because I will see the comment and I'll answer it. So first card, all of the card bases are early espresso cardstock. This one is 11 by 4 1/4 and it's scored at 5 1/2. And then I have my two white pieces, one for the inside and one for the front. And I have a piece of this designer series paper. This designer series paper is from the stack that's called He's the Man. He's the Man. A lot of great designs in that card stack. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But this one's kind of cool. It's got the little camping scene, and it's the colors are soft, succulent, and early espresso, so they're going to match our card nicely. Then I have a piece of white that I ran through that embossing folder, so it has that nice texture. And then this actually is the flip side of that designer series paper, so it's a little strip that's going to fit right here at the bottom. Then I have a couple of layering circles in soft succulent and early espresso and white. So not a lot of stamping that we have to do. And generally when I stamp on something and then I cut out a circle, I do the stamping first, but so I didn't have to cut out the circle. I went ahead and cut the circle out, and now we're going to stamp it. So let me bring in a pad here and some scrap paper and my ink, early espresso ink. And on this one, I also stamped a couple of the little sprigs or the little weeds or the whatever you want to call them. Let me show you. See, I stamped just a little bit there around the owl. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp those first. Just give us a little bit of background on here. And then I'm going to stamp over it with that owl. And we'll see how this turns out. Oh, it's so hot in this room, you guys. The paper moved because I turned my fan on. And then I turned my fan on, and I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but when I have the camera turned around, in my background you can see my window. My cat Stella lays on that window. Well, as soon as I turned the fan on, she noticed that long chain that's hanging in the fan, and she's staring at it. So I sure hope she doesn't jump for it, you know? But anyway, let's stamp on. Ooh, I really overdid that. I got a lot of ink on there. So I'm going to wipe some of that off. So I invited some of my classmates, some of the people that came to my classes a long time ago, to hop on tonight and watch me live. So if you're watching, don't be shy, you guys. Type a comment in there and say hi. just so I know you're here and so I don't feel lonely. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stamp right in the middle of that circle this owl. And I'm doing it off center, so we'll see how I do. I'm going to hold it there for a second. Ta-da! Oh, I like that. He turned out so pretty. Look how nice that's stamped with all the little detail. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now we're just going to put together our card. Let me get this out of the way for a second. So if I forget to tell you a measurement or I make a mistake, don't worry. If you go to stampandshout.com after this video, you will see all the measurements for this card and the supplies that I used, and you'll even see a few more pictures. So that'll help you out a little bit. Let me close this stamp pad, because I know if I don't close it, I will drop something into it. All right, so now we're just going to put this card together. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the pretty designer series paper onto that white cardstock. Let me get this out of the way a little bit, then you can see it maybe a little bit better. There you go. And this is going to go right on the front of our card. I like the way these open like this. They stand up nice too, so if you send this card to somebody, then they can prop it up on their mantle or wherever and show it off. And that designer series paper is so pretty. I just love it. Okay, so now this piece, we're going to go ahead and glue right at the bottom. This little strip right there at the bottom. Then we're going to glue these pieces together, these little circles. So these are the layering circles, which I love. I use them all the time. They're so great just for all different, you can put the sentiments on there, you can put small images. Now that's a really small image, but when we pop it on these circles, it really sets it off and shows it off. And so they're a real help when you're making your cards. Okay, so this is going to go on here with dimensionals. Before I do that, I'm going to bring in this little scrap piece. And actually, I'm going to bring this pad back in because I don't want to stamp on this background. And I'm going to bring in the stamp set, or the stamp that says Sending Birthday Wishes. And obviously, that's going to be a little bit too long for our card. So I'm going to cut it down. Bring in my little paper snips. So I'm just going to, I just want it to say birthday wishes on the front. So I'm just going to jig jag and fussy cut this little sentiment. So this is a good little trick if you want to cut down your stamps, you don't need all the words, you can always just kind of fussy cut around whatever you do want. And it kind of makes it more interesting than just cutting it out on a rectangle. And I'll show you what it looks like. So we'll bring this piece back in. Put a little glue here. So you guys know my trick, right? Whenever I glue something on the back of something, I always bring in my little silicone mat and dab it to get some of that extra glue off so it doesn't squish all out. So there we go. Bring this in, and we're going to bring in our dimensionals. Hi, Julianne. Welcome. Central Iowa. I bet it's hot there too, right? I was just talking about how hot it is here in Michigan. Well, thanks for joining me. How did you find me? I'm always interested to know how people find me. Usually it's Googling or something like that, but welcome. I hope you liked tonight's card. You're going to have to let me know. Okay, so we're going to pop that up on dimensionals right here in the middle of our card. And I'm going to do some more popping up with that, just a couple more. And we're going to put that right there in the center of that pretty embossed piece of white cardstock, just like that. Okay, so now I have a bow already made, but I do that ahead of time just because I'm always nervous about making bows online live, but it's not that hard. So let me see if I can do that. I'm kind of, so this is all wrapped around here, so you're going to find little indentations every now and then. So you just kind of pull it through your fingers, or you can rub it on the edge of your table and get rid of those crinkles so you have a nice piece of string or twine or ribbon to work with. And I'm just going to wrap it around. This is going to be, let me go this way. This is going to be a, well, either a triple bow or a double bow. We'll see. I'm going to wrap it around a few times. Then I'm going to cut off this extra. And now I'm going to go ahead and put this through my fingers, just like that, and bring it through the other side. Now I'm going to run it underneath that piece we just pulled through. And then you're just going to pull it tight. Now the tricky part is getting it off your fingers. And you got to be careful, because that bow will move a little bit, so I'm going to play with it. Sometimes it moves a little bit too much and you got to redo it. That knot is moving just a little bit. But anyway, there you go. So we'll trim off the ends, make them even. Now let me get my glue dots. So we're going to squish a glue dot. You guys ever squish a glue dot before? So I got a brand new roll of glue dots here, and I'm being very careful because I don't want them to fall off that little cardboard piece, because then they become a big old mess for me and I have to keep fighting for my glue dots. So I have a glue dot on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right at the bottom of that circle. And then I'm just going to trim this just a little bit. So that's the front of our card. And then for the inside, I'll put all this away. I'm going to bring in our early espresso ink again. And I'm going to bring in the sentiment, to a great guy. So we got birthday wishes to a great guy. And we'll put a little bit more down here. Just a little something, something. And then we'll, oh, my hydrangea cards. Did you see all of them? I tried to post all the ones that I've done recently and all my old hydrangea cards. Julianne is saying that she searched hydrangea cards and she saw the card I made last week. Okay, so we're going to put that right in the middle, just like that. So there is your first card. I hope you like that. We have lots more coming, so let's get on to, let's do the wolf card. I love that wolf. So, see here, we have a piece of early espresso cardstock. This one's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. That's my stamping piece for inside. And then for the front, I have a piece of the Whisper White. I keep calling it Whisper White. I think they call it Basic White. And then Soft Succulent. And then I ran that through that Timber 3D embossing folder. So you can see that texture on there. Then again, we have that Designer Series paper. And then I have a strip of white. That's for our sentiment. And 2 circles. with the layering circles. So let's go ahead and stamp the wolf. He is such a cool looking wolf. And again, normally I would take a scrap piece of paper, stamp the wolf, and then I would go ahead and lay my circle on it. Let me just show you really quick. So I would take a bigger piece, stamp it, and then center the circle wherever you need it, and that way you know you have it centered exactly like you want. But let's see how I do. So let's show you. This is the card we're making now. It is hard to come up with masculine cards, but I think this is a good start for you guys, so we'll see. So I got that inked up. This circle is a little bit smaller than my wolf, but I want to make sure that I have his back paw in there. I'm not too concerned with the other side, but this was the size circle I wanted for this card. So there you go. So I got his whole body in there. This doesn't matter that the little bit of the rock or the log that he's laying on doesn't fit quite perfectly, but I wanted these two sizes because I wanted a larger mat of that brown. I could have made the white circle bigger, but I wanted more of that brown showing. So I'm going to glue those two pieces together. And then the other stamping I'm going to do is on this strip. I'm going to bring that stamp back in that says "To a Great Guy," and right over here, way at the end, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that sentiment. So here's my card here. Just like that. So Julianne, I hope you're a subscriber, and I hope you click that notification bell, because that means that when I do a live video, you'll be notified. They'll just like say, "Hey, Nancy's going on YouTube." All right, so let's see here. So we got our stamping done. I'm just going to put this card together. So front, we're going to go ahead and lay our white matte piece down. I like to lay little matte pieces down rather than just laying the designer series paper right on that, or the center part right on. Just adds a little bit more, I don't know, elegance to our card. Even though it's a guide card, we can still have it be elegant, right? So this piece here we're going to lay on. And again, I will have, if you go to stampandshout.com, I will have all the sizes listed there and photos. So you don't have to worry about writing them down right now, or if I forget to tell you, which I know I just didn't tell you what size this is. These are all about the same size. They're about 1/8 of an inch off from each card. So basically it's like 5.5 by 4 1/4 card, and the mat's 4 by 5 1/4, and the inside piece is 5 by 3 3/4. But it's like an 1/8 difference here and there. So I wanted to put it on my blog. And there's no reason for that. It's just whether or not you want a larger mat or just a very, very thin mat showing. So yeah, it's just fun. Little slight changes. Sometimes it makes a big difference, and sometimes it's a subtle difference. So isn't this paper cool? I love it. It's perfect. It's called He's the Man, and it's in the annual catalog. But again, I will have that information if you're interested. Okay, so this piece is going to go there. This piece fits perfectly right there. So let's glue this strip down. I'm going to decide how high I want it. Yeah, right above those trees, okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to bring in my dimensionals, and we're going to pop this up. So these are going to be all birthday cards for me. I have a lot of guys that I can send birthday cards to, but so we'll put that there. But you can be a thank you card, a note of thanks, and then for all the great things you do. That's a great sentiment. Or just, you mean so much to me. And again, the sending birthday wishes and to a great guy. I mean, to a great guy on the front, and then write a note inside, you know, kind of cool, right? So inside, since these are going to be birthday cards for me, I'm going to put sending birthday wishes. So that's, yeah, these are the sentiments that I'm using tonight, but obviously you saw there's a few others that you can definitely use. And then I'm going to add a little bit of a sprig again. Right down here. Just very subtle, but I want to say pretty, but they're guy cards, so I can't say pretty. That's so funny when I make my cards. I go, isn't that pretty? But it's a guy card. Isn't that cool? How's that? Isn't that cool? There's your card, your second card. It's really, really cool. I love that texture. It's 3D folder, so you can really feel it. It's kind of cool. Okay, so on to our fun fold card. I love this fun fold. It's so simple to make, and it just worked out perfect for this little bear. So, piece of early espresso cardstock. This is 7.5, and I scored it at 2, so it's got that little fold there. Then with that piece that's left over, and when you cut this, you will see that you'll have a 2-inch piece left over, so that's 2 by 4 1/4. Then I have designer series paper that's 1 3/4 by 4, 2 of them. And then I have a little strip of white, and it's embossed again with that timber. And then that's going to go on this matte piece of the early espresso. Then I have a stamping piece for our bear. So let's go ahead and stamp that bear first. And I'm going to do that in early espresso. Oop, look at, I have a dimensional here. Those little dimensional back tags are all over my craft room. Okay, so we ink this up. These stamps are really cool when you ink them up. They have all that texture on them. I was just thinking to myself I was going to do this ahead of time because I have to, oh, that's so pretty. You would not believe the beautiful textures. It looks so cool. But I have to fussy cut him out. So I was going to do this ahead of time so you guys didn't have to wait, but it's okay. So you guys know that celebration's going on now. It's going through the end of August. That means you get free stuff. You get free stuff whenever you make like a $50 purchase. There's a celebration catalog, and you get to pick out something from that catalog for free. So $50 gets you one thing, $100 gets you another thing. So it's nice. If you're going to be shopping, it's always nice to get free stuff. I love, love celebration time. So make sure you know about that. That's why I bring that up. I would hate for someone to buy something for $40 or $45 and not know if they added like $5 more, they could get something free. I mean, you get free stamp sets, you get free packs of paper. It's just really cool. So if you guys don't have a catalog, you can go online to my stampandshout.com, and over to the right it says catalogs, and you can click on it and you can see it right on your computer. Or if you'd like a hard copy, just kind of email me at stampandshout @gmail.com, and I will send you a catalog. There's our bear. Cool. Okay, he's going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece to our mat piece. Just like that. Let me get this out of the way so you can see a little better. Okay, now we're going to bring this piece in, and these strips are going to go on the top and the bottom, so we can go ahead and do that now. If you haven't seen this card before, it's really cool. You're going to be surprised at how it comes together. So simple, but what a wow card when the person gets it. It's like, wow, I've never seen a card like that before. So that one goes there. This one's going to go at the top. Right there. Okay, now how does this go on? Simple. I'm going to let you know. It's really simple. I'm going to go ahead and put him on here. Did I pop him up? Yes, I did. So we're going to put some dimensionals on our bear. I'm going to cut, well, I'm going to put this one in the middle. Let's see here. I don't have my babies. Oh, yeah, I do. Here are my teeny tiny small dimensionals. So I'm going to put those on his feet. See these, the small ones, really tiny. Look at those little spots. And I put this many on him because I don't want him sagging. I don't want him to have a saggy belly. And he's going to go right here in the middle. Okay, so now he fits perfectly with my dimensions. So again, you're going to visit my blog for the dimensions, the exact dimensions. And I'm going to flip him over, and I'm going to put 2 dimensionals right at the top. And I'm going to make sure they're right at the top. So my dimensionals have a little square side. So I'm going to be kind of picky about the way I do this one. And I'm going to put 2 dimensionals right at the top. And he's going to go here. But because I want to make sure I see it carefully, I'm going to go like this. It's going to be centered right here. This is going to be centered. But I want to make sure those dimensionals are covered up. And I've made these cards before, and it hasn't been quite so close. But this one works perfectly. So that's the first part. He goes right there. Now for this bottom piece, we need dimensionals to stick this bottom piece. So I wonder if I can move this over just a tad. Just a little bit. I want to move it over just a little. I'm so picky. I just want it over slightly. I'm going to do that one more time. I want it. How did I do that? I just want it moved over so it's more centered. Perfect. Okay. Yep. Okay, so now this piece is going to go here. So I have to put dimensionals right at the bottom. I'm trying to make sure he's straight. Yep. So I'm going to put dimensionals right at the bottom of that bear. So we put dimensionals on the top of this square and on the bottom of this square. It's not as hard as it looks. You could always make this square just a tad bit bigger if you wanted. Okay, so now the way you put it together, you should take off the dimensionals, the backing. You make sure that this bottom part is lined up, so I kind of tap it and hold it in place, make sure it's all lined up right at the bottom. Then you just close it, just like that. Magic. Okay, that's it for that, but let's do the inside. I mean, that's how simple the front of that was. Isn't that cool? I love that. All right, so inside, what did I do here? Oh, sending birthday wishes. So again, you can put whatever sentiments you need. Oh, this card here. You have to be careful. This one works perfectly. And now I had to test it. I had to make sure that this sentiment didn't go beyond my little bear, because this piece of white is kind of going to show through on each end. So I didn't want any ink there. So this sending birthday wishes fits perfectly right in the center of this card. So just like this. And then we'll add our pretty little wild sprig at the, whoop, I did that in the wrong color. That would have upset me. I stamped it in early espresso. So I'll clean that off with my little chamois. And I want that in the soft succulent right down here. Okay, let's put some of this stuff away so we don't make a mess. We're going to glue this to the inside of our card. And our third card is just about done. So there you go. Isn't that cool? So simple, right? I love it, love it, love it. So we got our bear and our wolf and our owl. And also, just so you know, if you place an order online with me between now and Saturday, I will send you the cardstock and everything you need to make these cards. They're called make and takes. So I will send you the make and takes, and you can make 3 of these cards. You have all the supplies you need, and that's it. So thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next Tuesday. Leave your comments, share my videos, make sure you're subscribed, and click that notification bell so you know when I'm going live. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout. Thanks, Julianne.